first thing I heard when I woke up this morning is, not only is it all going to be okay, but you're okay.
Hi everyone. So, as you may or may not know, I go by the name Lucine on both my platforms, my online platforms. One of them is like psychic medium, esoteric platform that I make money off. The other one is psychology, which is what I'm my background is in regards to schooling and life experience and so on and so forth. Both of them are life experiences, really, because I've got many years plus experience. So I like to make additional money since I literally have no life other than, sorting my life out and building. Okay, so just before I headed out, now I'm walking. I need to get some fresh air even though it's freaking freezing. It's January the 12th today. This girl gives me a call. It's a first time caller, right? And she's talking about how she's known this guy for like 6 years on and off. They've been in a relationship and he's been in and out of prison throughout the years, and she's always been like the business person. She studied law. She's basically becoming a lawyer, and he's always been on both these platforms, both the psychic and the psychological platforms that I'm on, that I make money from. A lot of these people, men and women, they cry on the phone, okay? Because it's like therapy to them. And I use certain techniques that aren't just psychology or aren't just energetic. It's like counseling, where I'm like hearing the person out, and it's more than just giving advice. It's like really being attentive and hearing the person out, right? Whew, so we have a very sick society, and unfortunately that sickness is everywhere, within every country and every nation, because they've normalized sickness as a normal thing. So when I say sickness, I don't literally mean, this is a little off topic, but it's not at the same time. What I mean is, when you normalize a certain way of life, a mentality that everybody has to forcefully adapt to, it becomes an entire, forget about just nations and communities, the entire world becomes sick. And then they start to normalize that as being a normal way of life. So it's become universal. This way. Hey guys, I'm back home. So I ended up doing some shopping since I was walking. I'm like, I might as well hop into the grocery store. I bought more of that salmon because it was actually so freaking good. The same Armenian company. How expensive things are getting in Armenia, I'm telling you right now, very expensive. Like the food, forget about it. People are like from like North America that come here, they're like, oh, the food is cheaper. No. For 2 small little plastic bags, usually I have like a little, like a bag that I take with me to go shopping so I don't have to get plastic bags. Almost $1 I spent. What's going on? It used to be like 20 cents, then it became 40 cents. Now it's like 100 taram each. Anyways, thankfully I have multiple revenues of income coming in, and I'm like balling in terms of like taking care of my lifestyle financially and spending quality time just working and saving up. because I don't have any backup. Like, I don't have family members supporting me. I don't have them funding anything. I'm not part of any local organizations that fund anything or back me up like everybody else thinks they do or whatever, or all these diasporans have family backing them up. Like, there's these diasporan parents that are sending like $1,000, if not more, to their own kids. And I'm like, when the fuck has my family ever done such things for me? Never. It's always been my mom, give me money, give me money, give me money, give me money. And it's like, I've never, ever, I don't fit in that category. Just like I don't fit in the category of I'm open-legged and I sleep around. Okay, so speaking of diasporans in this country who come here to live here or who come here and then leave, or even the locals, okay? Because there seems to be some arrogance here flying around in their minds that they're thinking that I should be like them or I am like them in terms of, okay, for example, so in Armenia, there's this new law since Pashinyan has taken office, which is like apparently girls have certain rights and sexuality is being taught like in the Americas, right? At a young age, apparently. This is not really widely practiced because come to Gyumri, come to Armenia, there really isn't much women's rights here. Let's be fucking brutally honest. Maybe in Yerevan you'll find a few organizations that's like LGBT pro or like women this or that. But in terms of like people, with all due respect to people, don't get offended for what I have to say. But you have to understand, I've been living here long enough to understand the mentality of the locals here. Okay, and what the pressures of these young girls experience. Okay, Armenians in Armenia are very modest. That doesn't mean they don't do anything sexual. Trust me, they do. Armenia is a post-Soviet country. There's a lot of girls that are not virgins at like 12, 13 years old. Some of them are, but they keep quiet because they don't want to get fucking killed. That's why a lot of these girls, like these guys were saying, oh, our girls are going to Turkey or whatever and whatever. Going to Turkey by themselves and they're doing this and they're doing that and whatever because they're being shunned by their own family members, okay? And I have this experience from my own family members in Canada. So coming back to Gyumri, okay? So now there's this law which these diasporan Armenians are coming here from like the Americas, and they're teaching the girls, young girls, what the name of vagina is, if they know, blah, blah, blah. They know, they just are embarrassed to talk about it because you just don't talk about these things. Armenians in Armenia are very modest. They do everything in the book. They will not tell you about it. And they will not admit to it. So that's one thing. But then here comes these diasporans who are extremely open and have sex all the time. And so I'm put in this category by them, the diasporans, as well as locals who think how some of the parents, like mothers, know that their daughters are not virgins. Some of them, Paits, Chen Chosid, you just don't talk about these things. And they sure as hell are not going to open up and talk to a diasporan or someone else about it. They will take it to their grave. Because remember, Armenians here are very modest. You just don't talk about these things. They're not openly. So what I mean is like organizations like Birthright Armenia, they're bringing diasporans here who are like pro-sexuality, feminists. Oh, it's perfectly fine and healthy to touch yourself and to masturbate. What is the name of vaginas? I don't care if I ruin my reputation, but sweetheart, you're not living here. You're here for a few months and then you're going to go back home. So what I mean is you're not here long enough to, first of all, take the statistics down, surveys. Like for years, I was doing surveys. I was doing psychological testing on people, not with Birthright, but on my own. I never agreed to doing things like that with Birthright Armenia. That was on my own doing because I knew I'm going to stay here long term and I need these documents. I need this for myself long term. I need this for the people long term. I need to understand the mentality of the people here long term, which I do because I have an Armenian fanatical, Christian fanatical family in Canada, which I don't talk to, which I can relate to the people here more than I can relate to the people in the diaspora. Even though I am a diasporan Armenian, it doesn't make sense, but I was always kind of never around people growing up anyways. even though I kind of was. I hope this makes sense. If it doesn't, whatever. But the locals don't just go to Turkey, they go to Europe. They go other places by themselves too. Which is khalche. But what I mean is, like, what's happening is, realistically, you can't just bring, as a diasporan organization, you can't just bring in a bunch of diasporans who are pro-sexuality, and then it confuses the local men here. It even confuses other diasporan Armenians here, like Syrian Armenians, Lebanese Armenians, who are thinking the girls from the West are so easy, they'll spread their legs for nothing just because they like sex. So they're gonna think they like sex with everything and everyone no matter what. Which, again, causes more abuse to come my way because I live here, I have my own apartment. So in their mind, they're thinking, oh, did she buy an apartment because she wants to have sex with everyone? You have to understand, we're in a very fucked up, sick society right now. So again, we live in a post-Soviet nation. We are still very much influenced by Russians. I'm a proud citizen of Armenia. So I acknowledge the fact that there's still a huge influence of Russian mentality here, and it's going to be like this forever. Okay, so what happens with that? Russians are very anti-LGBT. They're very anti-Americans. They don't trust Americans. So a lot of Armenians who grew up with the Soviet mentality have passed that on to their children, which are now, okay, they don't trust Americans. They make fun of Americans that they're all gays and lesbians and that's all they're good for. And so they're bringing that mentality here, or they're bringing that whatever mentality here. They don't, so they're passing that on to their kids, and their kids are going with that mentality as well. Some of them love America, but you'll find that more so in Yerevan. And even in Yerevan, it's still a little, you know, but my point is with this whole sexuality is that why aren't you bringing long-term people here? I'm talking directly to Birthright Armenia because they seem to be bringing these pro-sexual people in here, you know, talking about how Pashinyan's government is bringing in sexuality, you know, education and such. And it's so normal to masturbate or have sex. Why the fuck do you not want to bring in people who are willing to see, well, what is the youth experiencing in the villages, in Gyumri, in Yerevan even? By their families, by their husbands, by their boyfriends, by their brothers, by being single. Literally, not the surface stuff. I'm talking about what are they truly experiencing? Because a lot of girls that live alone get abused. A lot of girls get raped here. They just don't talk about it. They don't come out. They don't have anyone to talk about it. Who are they going to talk to? The police about it? Really? And so you're bringing that here, and even some of the diasporans that get raped here, or they get harassed because they're thinking, oh, look, American movies, they have sex with everyone. Oh, look, you know, guys talk, you know, or even like these Syrian and Lebanese Armenians, they think all these girls from the West are sluts, and it's so fucking, like, for example, there are lesbians, tons of lesbians in Gyumri. A lot of them are married. Some of them aren't married. A lot of them try to go to Yerevan to live a, you know, free life. They're lesbians, but a lot of them here, they'll never admit that they're lesbian. In the villages, they'll never admit. You can tell they're lesbians. Some of them you can't tell they're lesbians. That's not the point. They're modest from outside, okay? So instead of maybe bringing in people who are willing to, you know, say, why don't we find the middle ground? Where did these eyelashes come from out of nowhere? Why don't we find the fucking middle ground and find, there's no rights for women in Gyumri. Hitch, Shiga. There's no organization that is literally for women's rights. There are organizations that support counseling for girls, give them an education, give them an apprenticeship somewhere, which a lot of them end up leaving and getting married anyways, because the mentality in Armenia is, a well-educated woman is a woman I want to marry. So they end up leaving and getting married very young. Okay, so that's their own mentality, which is also, that's kind of somewhat Russian, somewhat. Okay, so there's no real organization that actually supports women. There's no women's shelter. They just go to Yerevan, which is like totally packed. So if you're going to be bringing this whole mentality, or these like volunteers of people and whatever, with this mentality that you're free to have sex with this, please look at the negative side effects that is going to happen. After 30 plus years, they finally built 4 now buildings for the people in the domiks. So it's going to take another 30 years. So it's like everyone's sick society is coming to Armenia, when Armenia is still a sick society from post-wars, post-Soviet collapse, post this, post that, and there's so much confusion. And it's like, yes, women deserve to be treated with respect and dignity. But that's not going to happen when there already isn't that mentality instilled in the society here. So when you're bringing random girls from the diaspora to say, hey, look, I'm sexually liberated and it's normal to be, and your government approves of it, it's causing major problems. It's causing major problems. Okay, there's a huge imbalance happening here. Listen, I'm pro women's rights. If a woman wants to masturbate, that's her fucking business. It's no one's fucking business. If she wants to have sex with someone, that's her business. It's no one's fucking business. It's her body. But when there isn't a right platform for what happens to her after or during, by the guy or the person she's having sex with, or her family, or her wanting to whatever it is, please just don't bring that mentality here and then expect everything to be all flowers and dandy, and you not to get raped either. Unless you want it, but that's fucking the entire society up even more. But no one wants to talk about that, and I'm going to talk about that because I live here, and it's yeah, so a lot of these ooh, my hair looks nice. I just like flipped it up quickly. Yeah, so a lot of these mentalities are slamming into each other because one doesn't go with the other. And like I said, a lot of these guys from Syria and Lebanon come here. And they just think that all girls, if she's got tattoos, or all girls in general are like so easy if they're from outside, and they don't look to develop their own personality. They don't look to learn how to speak to women. They start throwing all these sexual remarks and jokes at them and think that they're all like this, and it's so wrong. Or they just associate the locals as using them for money and this and that. And there's a lot of confusion. And my thing is, there needs to be a balance for, if you're going to bring some open sex. I guess what I want to say, Noren, is like, honestly, there needs to be a balance here of, if you're going to bring sex education to young girls, can you just do it with class? Can you do it in a way that's kept sacred and not exposed to everyone? I know I'm here about exposing stuff, but a lot of what I'm exposing is about abuses that are being hid and covered up and silenced. What goes on with a woman's body is between her and the person she's sharing it with. It should not be exposed for the world to see. And that Armenian mentality of the people here will never be like that. They'll never be like the mentality of the West, where it's like, I need to show that I'm sexually active. Watch. It's like, it's out of the world. So here on my channel, I talk about all the things that are not right in this society, because the throat chakra and the heart chakra is fully embraced with me and the people who associate with me. Okay, if you're not developed or constantly working on these areas of your life, and it's going the opposite effect, where you're socially expressing your sexuality in Armenia or so on and so forth, you're just going to bring on more abuses your way, as well as abuses to the other people here. And it's uncomfortable for them, and it's uncomfortable for you, because you're not understanding. You're looking at it as a North American mentality. Some of you are trying to understand, but then you're like leaving. And that's why a lot of people leave. And that's why there's a lot of young guys that contact me. They could be Syrian, Lebanese, whatever. And they think without getting to know me and putting in that effort of getting to know me as an individual, as a different person, as a person who has this and is doing this and is living here permanently, that I'm like that as well. So that mentality is already instilled in the brain, because they see me and they think there's no way a girl like you is not a sexual person and doesn't sleep around. That's just naturally in their mind. You're this age, you're alone, you have tattoos, it equals to them as sexually extremely open, when that is not the case. They're not individually getting to know me. And then when they hear my response, because they think if I block them, it means I'm playing hard to get. But when they get my response, they back away, because they've never heard of asexuality. They've never heard of a girl who has tattoos, who doesn't want to have... because these North Americans that are coming here are not teaching that everyone has their own right to, if they want to have sex or not have sex, or everyone is different. If you're in the end, I'm going to look like Noren, the psychopath, because you're not teaching it, but you're bringing these people here that everyone is different. So it's a matter of, listen, I've taken myself out of society. It's a matter of, I'm building my own life. I'm building my own platform. I'm building my own physicality here in Armenia. I'm doing my own thing. Therefore, if you're going to get in my space, get to know me first. Honor and value what I stand for. Don't just come and contact me because you've been instilled in your mind by meeting other diasporans that we're all the fucking same. And if you're a woman watching this and you're a diasporan Armenian, or you're all about this and all about that, take this into, for example, yes, I swear, fuck this, fuck that. That doesn't mean I open my legs. Doesn't mean I'm gonna open my legs to you. Yes, I have tattoos on my body. That doesn't mean I'm gonna open my legs. That doesn't mean I'm gonna open my legs to you.